Jacob Rees Mogg.
Right honourable gentleman for giving way. But I think his speech is a little eccentric, Mr. Speaker. he seems to think that the ERG and the DUP control the Prime Minister. Why then did 120 of us vote against the Prime Minister yesterday? If we're in such control, we're clearly not doing it very well.
Exactly. Well, perhaps let me explain. The honourable gentleman, in supporting a motion of no confidence against the Prime Minister, as he did, clearly expressed that he doesn't have the confidence of the Prime Minister. And what the ERG is seeking to do is to make sure that the government delivers what they want, which is a hard Brexit, a no-deal Brexit perhaps, against the interests of the majority of the people in the United Kingdom. But here is the reality. Having listened very carefully to what the Prime Minister has said today, there is no change to the government's position. The red lines remain in place. And I fear that what is really going on is that we have a government that is seeking to run down the clock. In the knowledge that they have, and I will in a minute, safe in the knowledge that the Withdrawal Act has gone through, seeking to drive Parliament to the margins and to make sure that we do crash out of the European Union with no deal as a serious prospect. All of us, Mr. Speaker, should recognise the risks of no deal that no sane person in this House would support, and the government should unilaterally take that risk to all of us and to all our constituents off the table. I happily give way.
I thank the honourable gentleman. He must agree that the Prime Minister is a record setter. Record levels of poverty, record levels of homelessness, and now a record defeat in majority that any government has had. Now, maybe not in our lifetime. Do you think that majority will ever get beaten?
Well, I would say to my honourable friend, because he is my honourable friend, it's a record level of lack of humility that we see from this government, and he's absolutely right. We have had 10 years of austerity from this government. People are hurting. We can see that through the poverty figures. We can see it through the forecasts of the increase in poverty that will take place. And the harsh reality, I have to say to the honourable gentleman, we know from the government's own analysis that in any version of Brexit, that the economy of the United Kingdom will be weaker than it would be than if we stayed in the European Union. That is the fundamental point of this, and I say respectfully to the Prime Minister, I understand the issue of respecting the vote in 2016, but when the government knows that the economic circumstances of its citizens are going to be negatively affected, we have a responsibility to say to the people, on the basis of the information that we now have, we have a duty to go back to you, because nobody, Mr. Speaker, irrespective of how they voted in that referendum, voted to make themselves poorer. And I have to say, and I say it with respect to the Prime Minister, that it is shameful that we are not being honest with the people of this country. We need to waken up. We need to waken up, and let's take the announcement from Jaguar Land Rover. Now, I know there are many reasons why Jaguar Land Rover are restructuring. We know it's to do with diesel cars. We know it's to do with China. But at the same time, Jaguar Land Rover made it absolutely crystal clear that Brexit is a fundamental issue which is driving that restructuring. No government, Mr. Speaker, should be in the situation that it wants to put unemployment on the table, that unemployment is a price worth paying. That's what happened under Thatcher, and this government, at its peril, would take the risks with the economy and the livelihoods of the people of the United Kingdom.